So I wanted to talk about why don't you own real estate? Now, obviously, if you're young, it's a little tough to do in the beginning. I was fortunate enough, I bought my first piece when I was 19 years old, and that was back in the 80s. And no, it wasn't any easier then than now, although it was creative financing that made that opportunity happen. But you know what? I'd say I'm covered with sawdust because I have 200,000 square feet of rentals, okay? And let me tell you, it's just the best lifestyle in the world to own real estate. I say it all the time, if whether you own, better check you got it? Yeah. Anyways, because whether they would say interest never sleeps, right? You got a loan, you got to pay it off. You got interest, right? Okay, I love interest. I love paying it, and I love receiving it. I've carried millions of dollars in notes, and I've paid on tens of millions of dollars in real estate. But the good news is, if I've got debt, if I've got real estate debt, I'm making money on the debt. In other words, whatever I'm paying on that debt, I'm making half again. Whatever I pay, I'm making half again, at least. Myself. That's the profit that I'm making, and of course, then I make double on whatever my equity is. What I put down. Tom, how do you find your deals? Marketing or cold calls? Kenneth, there is no one way or two ways. There's a lot of different ways. I've been doing this for 45 years, and believe me, and sometimes you miss a deal by that much. If you ever get a chance, get into my mentor. I have a mentor, or not my mentor. You can get in my mentorship, but get into a webinar, or just apply for mentorship, and you can have a quick call with me. It'll be very enlightening. I share information. I share videos. In fact, right now you see these every one of those pictures you see above my head that keep changing has a building or a piece of land. It's something that I've purchased. It's something that I probably still own, or something that I've made tens of millions of dollars on. And every time there's a story. That was Waterloo Lumber. I think it was called Waterloo Lumber. That's a hardware store that I went to buy, but I ended up handing that off to a partner, and I took a $20,000, what you guys would call wholesaling. Now I called it assignment. That's the first property I ever bought right there. 19 years old, and I bought that property that you see right there. And that's actually the property across the street from the property that I bought the first time. That one's down the street on the corner. I'm talking about these properties up here. Now that's an interesting property, and you always are going to hear about that one. That one that you see right there, that was just that's an overpass, right? That's an overpass that I bought the property that was in the path of progress. They took it from me by eminent domain, handed me $100,000. I took the $100,000, hired a lawyer, fought him, took it back. That's a property I turned into an illegal duplex. Okay, that's the front of it actually right there. But I took a laundry room and I turned it into what we call a mother-in-law's unit. That concrete I poured right in front of you, that little fence. I created another little parking spot, and this is back in 1984, 1985. And basically, by adding that other little unit, right, that little subunit, that house that rented for $450 now rented for $750 because I got $300 a month out of the back end. Now you got to remember, this is 1984. $300 a month back then is like getting $700 now. So that one, I called that the 3-day deal. I bought that in 3 days, and I bought it for half of what it was worth. I think I paid $195. It's probably worth $600,000 now. That one hurts. That one I bought and flipped, and I dumped it a little bit quicker than I should have during COVID, but I would have picked up an extra $100,000 had I held on to it. That one I just sold about a month and a half ago. I paid $279, sold it for $420. Right. So these are the kinds of deals that you can make, and but the how I find deals. There's just a multitude of ways. When you've been doing it for a very, very long time. There's just so many things and opportunities that come along, and you make opportunities where most people don't even see them. Okay, but hey, if anybody wants to call in here, I'd love it to talk to you. I want to know why you don't have property. I want to know why you don't. Especially you guys that are 30, 40, 50 years old, and you got $50 to $1 million, in the bank or saved or equity or whatever you have, and you don't invest in real estate. Now, I understand if you don't know what you're doing, and you got to, listen, and this is, look, I'm a real, what you would call a real estate guru, right? I'm a real one. I'm not a fake one. I'm a real one. And I'd put my record up against anybody. And, I don't have any YouTube friends out there. When I see Beardy Brandon, I call him Beardy Weirdy Brandon around here because he has very weird, kind of analogies or examples. He talks, I went from 3 million to 1 billion, or I went from say again, son? Yeah, I went from 3 million to 11,000 doors. That doesn't mean shit. You know what I mean? I could say I went from 3 million to 12 billion because I bought into PepsiCo, okay? Because I bought some stock into PepsiCo, and I'm taking my little stock, and I'm extrapolating that to mean that I own this big company, okay? And by the way, Brandon, I'd love to do a one-on-one with you. And if I seem argumentative or very opinionated, I am. Because I think there's just so much full of shit stuff going on YouTube. Pace Morby, I think he's probably one of the biggest fakes out there. I mean, that is a guy that I don't think he's ever made $1 million on a piece of property. I'm not even sure if he's ever made $100,000 on a piece of property before he started making millions of dollars selling, the sub-2 stuff that he talks about, which is totally a very impractical way to make money. Very impractical. I've done it. I know all about it. It is not something that happens very often. I don't even think his own students do it very often. But certainly wholesaling has a little more, reliability to it, or is viability, I should say, than subject to stuff. But anyways, I just the amount of people that I find out have been taken, or they feel like they've been really, really taken advantage of or misled. It's just so many, and the worst part is when they're young people. It's just a sad thing. But there's a fortune to be made in real estate. There really is, and it's a shame if it gets spoiled for other people by somebody just simply trusting somebody that maybe misled them a little bit. There's, if you ever get on and you'll see, if you ever get a sales call, or if you talk to somebody, I don't care what they're selling. Unfortunately, the YouTube is rift with fraud. There's just so many people out there. They have their sales team, and so it's very convenient when you have a sales team that basically overpromises, and then you go out and underdeliver. And then that way you're one off it, right? You're kind of a one off on it. But the thing is, so Kenneth, how about you? You wrote in here. Do you own any real estate? Where are you at? Anybody out there? Do you own property? I mean, let me tell you, my students, some of them didn't own property till they got in my class. And now they got $500,000 in the bank, or they got $1 million in the bank, or now they got a couple $1 million equity, and they have maybe 40 rentals. It can happen very, very quickly. And those of you that know me and followed me for a long time, I'm not afraid of any question. You can ask me about anything. I don't lie. I don't exaggerate. I just don't. I don't need to. And that's the beauty of having, 4 decades plus experience in buying and selling. And, so I don't know, but you got to want it. And, there's just so many stories with so many things. Hey, by the way, if you just got here, I've got a book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. I make about $6 on this book, if you care to know, but you could make $1 million on it because it's filled with information that most of you do not know. And if you're smart and sharp, you can get into my class, and my mentorship, where you actually deal with me. And I actually have what I'm calling micro-mentorship coming out, micro-mentorship. In other words, you don't get as much as the people that pay the big bucks, but you get enough to really take you over the line, and you can graduate. And, it's kind of like anything else, right? You get through your first year of college or whatever, and then you kind of move on up, and you learn more. So does that appeal to anybody watching? Anybody? Yeah, I tell you, I've advertised lately, and it's funny. People are jaded. I had a guy, he responded, filled out a form, wanted to know, set up an appointment, and then he didn't show up. And so I called him. They got old, and then he says, "Well, how much is it?" And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, it depends, you know." And I started talking, and this guy wouldn't listen for a minute. And he said, "Okay, bye, scammer, bye, scammer." And I'm thinking, man, you dipshit. And I'm being nice, you know, but I'm thinking, this is a dipshit. And I think his name is Rod. Anyways, maybe you're listening, Rod. But you know, this is a guy that is jaded, and I don't blame him. And in fact, I text him. I say, "Hey, listen, you know what? I'm not going to hold it against you that you called me scammer, because most people that are teaching are pretending to be, you know, masters." Okay, that's another joke. When I see a guy that looks like he could barely shave, or maybe he's doing real estate, you know, for 10 years or 5 years, and he said, "I'm going to teach you a master class." Give me a break. You're not a master. You're not even close. You know, it takes a long time. And I like to make the analogy, sometimes I like to compare it to like jujitsu, right? Jujitsu, right? I'm a brown belt. I'm a baby when it comes to fighting. Okay, in other words, a brown belt is not that significant. It is. You can, you know, you're believe me, you're tougher than most people on the street. But you are, even with a blue belt. Okay, when you have certain fundamentals down, you have an extreme advantage over your competition. And but a brown is nothing compared to you get to a black. You know, black's got there's four stripes, right? Four belts basically initially between a brown belt and a black belt. There's four belts. People don't realize that. So those stripes are. And then when you become a black belt, you see a black belt. They got, you know, eight stripes, or maybe I can't even remember exactly where it stops before they actually become a master. Okay, but it takes decades. It takes decades really to be a master at just about anything. And so, you know, but people are just very foolish. And I can tell by the reaction of the people watching this, some of you are quite bored. And I don't know what to do about that, but that's all right. But anyways, I would just tell you, you know, there's so much fun to be had. There's so much money to be made. And by the way, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. It helps the channel. And anybody got a question, like right now, anybody here can call. You know, any question you have, man, you know, I would answer it. Okay. And anyways, I mean, there might be a handful that I wouldn't, but I'm happy to talk to you about on anything on a deal by deal basis. You know, if you interested in land, if you're interested in warehouses, you know, all these dots you see. There's a warehouse that I net $12,000 a month income, one building. Just think about that. Just think about that one building. Believe me, I could live on that one building if I wanted to, right? In other words, one building, $12,000 a month, right? $144,000 a year income. And it's passive income, right? You know, these are the things, and you only need to make one of those, right? You only need to make one of those. By the way, I bought the land next door to it. I paid $2.5 million for the property next door. You know, but again, but just that one building, think about that. You know, there's 25 or 24 houses I purchased in one subdivision. You know, these are the things that you can do. And oh, good, we got somebody calling in. Thank God. Hey, caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? Hello?
Hey, how you doing, Tom?
Hey, very good. Who's calling?
It's Alberto speaking. We talked before.
Oh, okay, great. I was hoping you were Roderick, who called me a scammer the other day. Anyways.
Oh yeah, and I ain't no scam, man. Now I just had a quick question for you, Tom.
Sure.
I have a trailer at a trailer park. You know, you pay the lot rent. I asked you before whether I should sell it or rent it. Right now my lot rent's $700, and I'm renting it out for $1,500. So for that return, you told me to keep it. But I live in Florida. With this hurricane or the flooding going on, I've seen a lot of trailer parks get flooded out. Fortunately, mine didn't. But a lot of people think it's going to stop. Yeah.
Yeah. No. So let's talk about that for a second. So you pay $700 a month for your space, and you rent the trailer for $1,500. So you're making roughly $800 a month. Okay. What'd you pay for the trailer?
I paid, man, probably like 10 years ago. I paid like 20,000.
Okay, so it's paid for, correct? Roughly.
I paid for it.
Okay, it's paid for. So what do you think that? I mean, listen, so look, you can get sometimes you can make a fortune on a trailer because you're in a space and it's the space is more valuable than the trailer. In other words, people will pay you to take your spot. Now, sometimes the trailer parks get wise to that, but I mean, they have different policies. I don't know what the policy is on yours, but I mean, what would you expect to sell your trailer for?
Well, I had my neighbor in the back of where I live. She's like, "Hey, man, I'll give you 40,000." He's like, I'll give you 25 up, and then I could either sell my trailer and then give you whatever, or you can help me sell it. Whatever you sell it for, you keep that. So basically, just 40,000.
So somebody's willing to
my
give.
thing is,
Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, somebody's willing to give me 40,000, and that was just recently, like a couple months ago, because the lady like, we should have told me before you rented it out. I just started renting it out last month. Like, you told me before, I should have told me, I would have given you the money. I said, look, I already talked to these renters. I said, I got to give them at least 6 months to a year, and then me and you can talk. I'm a man of my word. I don't like to just, I can't kick these people out when
Sure.
they just started renting. And I wasn't going to take the money. In my mind, I said, I'll rent it for 2 years and then sell it if she's still willing to, pay for it. But the thing with Florida, I'm in it's in the Tampa Bay area. I'm just concerned, like, with these floods, man. I'm like, man, what if I make the wrong move, hold it, and next year it's my turn to get flooded out,
Yeah, I don't know. I would think it'd be kind of clear if you're actually in a flood zone or not. Has your place been flooded before, ever?
Never been flooded. I'm actually, surprisingly, I think I am.
I'm talking about historically. Historically, has it ever been
No,
flooded there?
no, that hasn't. And then we survived this last one, and not the last one, but the one before that. My neighbors in the back, over, well, I could say, there's people been here 40 years. I think just some people in the back, where my street is at, they're close to it. I'm by the river.
Hmm.
I'm
Oh,
by the river. I'm by a lock on Tampa Bay.
so the river can right. The river can rise, right?
Right. So they got somewhat a little bit flooded, not flooded to the point where it got in their house, but it did mess up the electric box. It didn't get to my street. My street's a little higher. On my end, but in my mind, I'm like, Tom did tell me to keep it because the return was, and I actually did like months ago, and then the return is good, $800 a month, but I'm
Yeah,
like, man, with this real estate.
yeah. Well, so let's do the math on that. You got 800, so times 12, you get 90. You're netting $9,600 a year on an asset that you think you can sell for 40,000. Correct?
Right.
So you're getting a 25% return on your 40 grand. Okay, that's a good return, and it's a great return. And I teach this to my students all the time. But it's what you can do with that 25 grand, right? In other words, you're going to pay the lowest capital gains on that. So even if you took your lumps on that 40 grand, you're going to give up probably 8,000, right? So you're going to have 32,000 clear when you're done. And so you just have to ask yourself. So in other words, look, if I had a 25% return on many of my buildings, I have far more than that, to be quite honest, because they appreciate it in value. But I always look at what is, and I market to market. In other words, you bought your property. Let's just say you paid 10 grand for it. Okay, when you bought it for 10 grand, you probably rent would have been what, $1,000 a month, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So that's what happens with time. Time goes by, the values go up. It's what you can do. In other words, it's what you can do with the money. I mean, that's the thing. If you 25% return, making 10 grand a year is a nice return on that trailer. If it's trouble free, you know what I mean? The tenants can be a nightmare, right? You know, I have, you know, many tenants. Most of my, you know, most of the portfolio that you see behind me right now, you know, I have hundreds of thousands of dollars a month coming in. You know, I have tenants in this picture behind me that pay me $27,000 a month rent. Others that pay me 20, 18, some that pay me as little as 1,500 a month. And so, in other words, the only reason I would sell any of my assets would be to buy something better, you know, to buy something better. I can show you, you know, I mean, I got dozens of examples in here, but, you know, I can show you a piece of land I bought for $205,000. Why did I sell it? Because I sold it for 2.8 million. That 2.8 million bought two buildings for, you know, and I know this is big numbers compared to what you're saying, but it's all relative. Forget the math. I'm not bragging. I'm just trying to just in sheer numbers, right? It just makes sense to sell sometimes. Now, it doesn't make sense to sell if you don't, you know, you really got to find something. I mean, here's another thing. How healthy are you financially? Do you have some money in the bank besides what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got some money in the bank. I think I told you, when I talked to you a month ago, I said I'm getting myself together, getting my cushion,
Yep.
so I can give you a call. You know what I mean? And that's what I was thinking too. I said, man, with whatever I got on top of selling it for $40K, let's say I wait 6 months. I said, to sell it. The neighbor, I told her, hey, look, give me 6 months. I'll give you an answer if I sell it or not. That was my idea, is getting that 40 and not going on vacation. My idea was, hey, listen, Tom, what do we do now? You know what I mean?
No. So I'm trying to, and like I say, I'm really trying to put myself in your shoes and think about it. Listen, I bought 4 houses, and before I ever lived in any of them. You know, I bought them to resell them. And I can show you the actual houses right here. You know, I could click on them, but the deal is I was flipping to get cash so that eventually I had enough cash that I could just pay cash for a house. And this is in areas where houses, you know, were $34,000, $50,000, $100,000. First home I ever lived in, I paid $140,000 for it. You know, and this is back like 1985. That was a lot. You know, it's kind of expensive home back at that time. But I think for you, is it Albert or Alberto?
Alberto.
Alberto. Okay. I do recall speaking to you too
what?
about it.
Yeah, before these last 2 hurricanes, that's what shook up people. Because my plan was rent it out for 4 years, get that $800 a month, and then, you know, sell it for 40. Hopefully, I can get more. You know, hopefully everything goes up. I can probably get more, and then go from there. But now, like these hurricanes are coming, man. You know, people in Florida get nervous. You know, some people think that's once in a lifetime, once in every 100 years. I personally think it probably might keep happening. Might not happen next year, but in my mind, I'm like, man, it's only a matter of time that, you know, people are gonna get flooded out again. That's what I think.
Right. Well, yeah, and I understand it. But so here, I want you to think about this, and everybody watching, think about this. You know who buys insurance? You know how you buy a TV, and they'll say, would you like insurance? Anything you buy electronic, right? They offer you insurance. I never take it, okay, because it's not going to probably break, right? But they know that insurance is for people that can't afford the downside. In other words, they can't afford to self-insure, basically, right? That's self-insure. I'm self-insuring. The TV breaks outside the warranty, I'll just buy another one. Chances are it won't. So I won't pay that couple $100 that somebody else may be paid buying an $800 or $100 or $2,000 TV. It's because they can't afford the downside. And really, you're in a position where I would say you can't afford the downside. You can't afford to have a flood come in here, destroy your trailer, and destroy your 25% return on your asset. So I understand the fear, number one. Do you have insurance that would take care of it or not? Would insurance even take care of it? I don't even know if you can get insurance anymore.
Honestly, I never had insurance. I don't even think it's an '86, so I don't even know if they'll give me insurance for that mobile home.
Yeah. I don't know either. But, what I would tell you is, it, and I have to wonder too, because what you described, right? Trailers flooded all around you, problems all around you. I actually know somebody that has three, multi-million, I mean, we're talking big time, multi-million dollar homes. In California, we're talking like like on the beach, looking at the beach. Everything burned up around this person's property. Their properties are fine. Their properties are fine. And the rental market had been down in that area. And now everybody wants to rent the property, and not just for, a month, like a bare Airbnb. They want to rent the thing for a couple of years. And so there's an opportunity there. His properties are worth much more now because there's nothing else. Have 10,000 homes burned up in the neighborhood. So now, if somebody wants to still live in the general area, there's very little inventory that's in that Pacific Palisades, Malibu area, and so they could probably sell their property for a lot more. They already know that they can rent it. They can rent it for 2 years straight. They can probably get paid for 2 years rent in advance because they're surrounded by millionaires and even some billionaires. And so, in your position, you probably could reap a better reward on your rents right now because your place isn't flooded. Somebody still has a job. They need a place to live, their kids to go to school. And so there's an upside there's an upside to every disaster for somebody. Okay. So, maybe you're receiving some of the upside right now, and maybe selling it right now is also a bit of an upside for you because you get to sell in an area where other people just simply don't even have a home anymore. But, the whole thing with me, Alberto, is I want to, everything I bought. I think about when I had nothing, right? When I was, whatever. I'd flip a lot and I'd make $7,000, or another lot and make $10,000, and little pieces like that. Or I'd flip a piece of property and split $10,000. I'd get five, somebody else would get five. Ultimately, just making the rent like I'll just show you. Are you watching the screen still too right now?
No, I actually got used to call you, but I mean,
That's okay.
I can go back.
No. Don't even worry about it. But I'll just for the benefit of the people that are watching. Okay, so this is there's two houses in this picture. So these are houses I bought, in the '80s, and this one over here. So this one here, I bought this house for. And I'm just describing it to you, but I bought this house for $34,000, and it was bringing in $450 a month rent. I put $4,000 down. I assumed the FHA loan, so it was a nice little return. I was getting a little bit of a return and making of that. Well, I put in like an illegal duplex in the back. I took the laundry room, moved some walls around and put in a kitchen unit. And I made a little parking spot in the back where they had a driveway to get into the backyard for some reason. I took advantage of it. I made a little parking spot, and now I have and now I created a second unit. So I was getting $750 now, where prior to that it was bringing in $450. So, I made a significant jump. Well, did I hold on to it till I go, oh wow, I'm making now so think about that. I had $4,000 of my money into it. So on the $4,000 that I spent to buy this place, I was getting a return of about, I'm gonna guess $6,000 a year. So I was getting 100% return on, not on the overall property value, but on the cash that I had put out. So great return, but guess what? $5,000 a year isn't going to make me rich, and it's not going to get me where I want to go. And I got to remember, I just spent $4,000, and then so what I did is this property that I bought with $4,000 down, I paid $34,000. I sold it for $56,000, so I made roughly $20,000 because I put a couple grand probably on the place, fixing it up. So I took this is just basic math, and I like everybody to know this. I took the $4,000 or $5,000 I put down to buy this place. As soon as I sold it, now I'm walking away with not just my $4,000 back, but I'm getting another 20. So now I got $24,000. So when you have the ability to, in this case, make 5 times what I invested on the property, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter that I'm making 100%. I was making 100% on my investment at that moment, but it didn't make sense to hold on to 100% investment property because it wasn't enough. Making 100% on a penny is not enough. Making 100% on $5,000 is not enough today. But when you consider that you made 500% or 1,000% on your money by buying it and reselling it, then it's a different game, right? And that's kind of where you're at, because you've got a property that's worth considerably more than you paid for it. Hey, Grant, good to see you in here, by the way. So I would say, what are you going to do with the money? You know what I mean? And here's something you could do. I don't even know if you 1031 a trailer. Do you 1031 a trailer? Maybe you can. I'm not sure.
I doubt it. That's because I guess it's like they treat it like cars, like car.
Yeah. So either way, I would say, personally, I would sell it. I would sell it, and I would, if you can get, it'd be nice if you get somebody to pay cash. You know what I mean? Get all the money, but you said you got a deal. You're talking to somebody. If you could, maybe you can work it out with them. But I would sell it. I would take the cash, and then I would take that cash and I would utilize that cash to, see if you can't buy something, that's with $20,000 that'll make you, 50. You know what I mean? And just rinse and repeat, because that's what I did. I'm showing these. Well, you don't see it, but in the picture here, this property here, $4,000 I turned into 26 after I got the 22 that I made. Over here, this little place right here, I bought this. I couldn't even afford to buy this with a neighbor. And this is an interesting. I'm going to show you guys this, because this is a house I paid $40,000 for it, and I couldn't afford to buy it because we had to have cash. So I took a partner. He put up the cash. Quickly, immediately, I wanted to resell it. I had it sold for $56,000. My partner, he said, "I don't want to sell it. I want to keep it." I said, "Okay, we got $15,000 equity. Give me $7,500, and you can walk." And that's what he did. He gave me $7,500. So I made $7,500 probably in 2 months, and I made it with nothing except I found the deal. Right? I just found the deal, and in this case, I bought it with a partner, and then right down the street from this same property. Here's another one right here. This is a hardware store. Now, this was expensive, man. This was like $150,000. Shit, there's no way the bank wouldn't touch it. There was no chance of creative financing, owner financing. But I got it tied up where I'm buying this thing for $150,000. So who did I do? What did I do? I went and talked to I called my old boss, right? He employed me and 20 other people, or 100 other people. And I got him to come over and take a look at it. John Brooks, one of the greatest, nicest guys in the world, died way too young, died 60 years old. And probably worth, $100 to $300 million. I don't even know. But he was a great gentleman and a great businessman. But anyway, he came out there and he looks at it and he goes, "Yeah, Tommy," he goes, "this is a great deal." And I go, "Great, John, let's buy it. And, we'll sell it for $220 and we'll make, $60,000, $70,000 each." And he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "I don't want a partner." And I go, "What?" And he recognized my weakness is that I don't have any money. And so he said, "How about I just give you $20,000 and I'll buy it by myself?" And I'm like, "That's a fantastic idea." So he gave me $20,000. I don't even know what he did with the building. I know he bought it, but I don't know what he did with it after that. But, so in other words, now you got to remember, this is me, a kid in my 20s. I'm making $20,000 on this one. I'm making, $7,500 on this one. Then I made another $20,000 on this one. Pretty soon it didn't take long. I got $40,000 in the 80s, and that's like having $120,000 today. And then, but I just kept doing the same thing, And then this one here, I got tied up. Thought we're gonna make some big money on this. Me and a partner, we kind of had a little falling out, disagreement. He gave me $2,500 to just walk away. We hadn't even closed it, so I said sure. He probably did really well on it. I don't know, but I bought the property across the street for $105,000. And it was worth $220, and so I bought that one for $105,000. I sold it for $210, I think, or $220. Yeah, $220, I think. So I made $100,000. So in other words, this is what can happen. It's like if you're up to bat, and you can hit the ball. You you know that you can hit the ball, and you carefully assessing the balls that are coming across the. You don't want to get struck out, and yeah, you'd love to hit a homer, but you're gonna hit what you can, and so you hit it. Maybe boom, you get on first. Most times you get on the first. There's good fielders out there. You get on second sometimes, and but once in a while, it's because you keep getting a chance to go up to bat. Once in a while, you hit a home run, or you even better, you hit a grand slam, right? And you bring everybody in, and so that is kind of my analogy on deals, anyways, for you. And as long as you sit there collecting this rent, you're really not up to bat. You know what I mean? Unless you got some extra money, of course. But right now, you're going to have more chances to be up to bat if you just get rid of that asset and you put that 25, 40 grand, whatever it ends up being, and you have it in the bank. Now you have some power. You know what I mean? Because money's expensive right now. I was just visited with my banker. In fact, I'm going to have her on the show here, one of my bankers. And right now, for me, I can buy a building. If I occupy the building, I can get a 6.5% interest rate, which really isn't that bad. By yesterday's standards, 2 years ago, that's kind of high, but it's still not as bad as it was, say, I don't know, 6 months ago, it was even worse, but so in other words, you gotta have some money to play. And, otherwise, it's like, here's the problem. When you don't have money, a lot of times you just don't even go shopping. You know what I mean? You can go shopping and maybe you find a deal, and you'll wholesale it, and you'll make crumbs, bite-size chunks, as Pace Morby would say. He never says how much. He just says bite-size and deals, because I think the numbers are so miserable. But yeah, so I would tell you, I think you'd be smart to sell it. And you know what? You won't be sweating a flood, and you'll have that cash sitting there in the bank, and you'll be ready to go when an opportunity comes along. And so, yeah, I would say sell. What audience? What do you think? Audience of 14. What do you think? Anyways.
No, I appreciate your time, and then I'll keep you up to date.
Yeah, do. And that, man, be sure to come back in, jump in. Actually, somebody wrote in, said, an interesting point, not selling has slowed my 100%. Hey, Real Freedom, why don't you call in next? Alberto's going to be jumping off here. Call in. The number's right there on the screen. Listen.
All right, Tom,
thanks a lot, Al. I really appreciate you, buddy. Thanks, and look forward to talking to you again sometime soon. Let me know what you do. Yeah, and so those of you guys watching, listen, I've been helping people free for a very long time, and I still do, by the way. In fact, I got to get Genesis. If you're out there, Genesis, you got to get a hold of me. I've got a gal that called in, and we get to talk, and she's was really serious thinking about taking the mentorship that I offer. Which, by the way, if you just got in here, I got the best mentorship in the world. Compare it to anybody. Compare the results. Compare the students. I got many multimillionaires now in my class, millionaires, 100,000aires, and it can happen very, very quickly. It's the power of having a mentor that you can contact right away and get some help with. So yeah, somebody call in, please, would you? It makes it more interesting. But Real Freedom, I agree. If you sit on, listen. It doesn't matter if you're making 100% on your money. If you're making 100% on 10 grand a year, that's nothing. Okay, it's nothing. It's not enough. It's not enough. But you have to look at what you made the day you bought it. So now, if you tripled your money, if you made 100 grand, with 30, you have to think about that and go, wow, I could get my 100 grand, and I can make that 100 into 300, and I know you can because I've done it. And my students are doing it too. But G and R E, I would say rule number 1, according to G and R E, get negative people out of your life that will talk you out of buying real estate. Yep, never listen to people that have never done shit with their life. Now, that's a very good point, G, and I actually completely agree with what you're saying. Listen, there's people. Listen, I talk to people like this. I hate to say it. People come to me, and that guy told me, yeah, you know what, I spent $7,500, and I went to dinner with Grant Cardone. He's the biggest asshole I ever met. I mean, and he spent $7,500 on that. You know what I mean? You know, I got another kid. Yeah, I borrowed $2,000 from my mom, and I borrowed $2,000 from my mother-in-law, and then me and my wife, we just had a baby. We took our 1,000 plus we borrowed this other, and we bought Chris Crone's thing. And as soon as we got in, we regretted it, and it was within 3 days. You can get your money back within 3 days when you buy something like that. You guys should know that. You can demand your money back. And I think he was within that time, but he went back. I said, well, just go ask for your money back, you know. And he comes back and he said, well, no, they said that I can't get my money back, but they're going to give me a lifetime access, you know, to what he described as a giant waste of time. And so buyer beware. You have to scrutinize. You have to look at the people that you're dealing with. You know, listen, even Chris Crone, I would be surprised, and Chris, I'd be glad to have you on the show. Love for you to demonstrate to me and the folks that you've ever made $1 million in real estate before you were, you know, soliciting other people's money to buy property with. You know what I mean? Because that's really kind of where you know your chops, you know, as an you know, show. And if you guys look, there's an old saying: those who can't those that can't do, teach, right? And that is very true for most of the people that are on YouTube. You know, it's you know, for a handful of people, they come out and they buy something, and maybe it goes up a little bit, you know, because they're enjoying, you know, a kind of you know, an inflationary period or appreciation period where things are going up quite fast, and so you know, they make $100,000 on a house, and now they extrapolate that to mean that they can do it all the time. When really what they did is they happen to be in a good point, in a good window, and I've been in good windows and bad windows, where they had this kind of super appreciation because the interest rates went down. You know, and you know, I had a talk with Mike Zuber. He was talking about, you know, we were just talking about, he likes data. He loves data. Well, I looked at his data and I said, Mike, you know what? The reason that the property values didn't go down is because the cost of buying property went down during that time. The interest rate went down. So even though the property values stayed the same, it was costing less and less and less to buy, and so it was able to maintain that. And you'll see that over your lifetime. You know, if you're in the game, and please consider. Listen, I don't care if you buy my course. You want to be like, you know, one of the millionaires, multimillionaires, or the people that you see behind me. And believe me, all these guys here, we got guys that are millionaires now in land. I bought so much land. I made millions of dollars in land. I made millions of dollars on buildings. Made millions of dollars on houses. You know, individual lots. You know, everything you can imagine. Everything that you drive by each and every day. So look, somebody get out of your comfort zone watching here. You got people here in the audience. Call the number. Call the number here. You don't have to say your name, but share one of your fears. Talk about, you know, G&E. Why don't you call me up. Talk about, you know, you've got some advice here, and I don't disagree with what you're talking about. Believe me, I had a grandfather that was very negative, and he didn't have any money, you know, and you know, and he, you know, and he, the things that jaded him over his lifetime were things like, I think he was involved with packing ice in trains. Like trains used to have, you know how, you know, steam engines would stop and get water, right? Well, trains would also stop and get packed with ice. They'd get repacked with ice. They had ice plants along the railroad, and so it was a way of keeping groceries, you know, whatever, produce fresh while they're taking it across the country, you know, and he was involved in one of those, and he had a peach job being a manager in one of those, and guess what? Refrigeration came along, he was gone, and that's what happens, you know. It's just like AI is taking a lot of people out. And that's kind of how it goes, and you know, and then you're jaded. Oh shit, you know. And then, you know, but you could take that and go, you know, one person say, well, I'm never gonna really work hard again, or I'm never gonna try because I don't get repaid. But you became obsolete because of technology, and that's happening to a lot of people right now. You know, there's a lot of things. I was actually involved with the company, and I had kind of a proprietary device that was within the company that I had. And then a new technology came out that I could see right away. Oh, these guys are going to destroy this business, this aspect of my business. And so I immediately had a fire sale, and I sold off everything, super cheap. You know, I mean, I got as much money as I could for it, but I got rid of everything. And then it wasn't 6 months later. Everything that I had sold was worth much less than what I sold it for because of the technology of something new that took it out. Real Freedom wrote, I hope you can talk a bit about market cycles and how important they have been for you. Why don't you call up and we'll talk about it, Real Freedom. Yeah, but he wants, it's easier to talk about it if I got somebody to talk to, by the way. So call up. Somebody call up. You want to talk about cycles in real estate. I am somebody that I don't necessarily believe history exactly repeats, right? And if you get a chance, you can watch a video I did with Mike Zuber, and because he's got this 50-year timeline he likes to look at. And nice guy, good guy, and he's turned on to data far more than I am. He worries about data far more than I do. I look at certain things. I'm always concerned with the interest rate, of course, but I can tell you, oh, you're in London? Well, I don't know, Skype a call. I don't know. That's okay. Skype. Use Skype to call. You can call that number with Skype. Anyways, that's okay. You're in London. That's no problem. But to your question, listen, interest rates are going to go up and down. Let's just not even talk about, cycles in general, but interest rates go up and down. Interest rates go down, property values go up. And the reason why is people don't care about how much they pay. They care about how much a month. Now, if you're an investor, of course, 100%, that's all I care about. What am I paying for it? What am I paying for it? So I'm going to be very, very involved with interest rates when I'm buying something. Like, I was even thinking about this, right? You guys know Ben Mala, right? Ben Mala. Okay, so I was just thinking about this, and maybe I'll do a video on this. So Ben Mala, he's got this beautiful $30 million home. That's what it's worth, or that's what it was worth. I think he paid $12 or $15 million for it. And I remember in an episode where I watched him, and he put 20% down. I think he put 20% down. He bought like a regular home. In other words, he probably put $3 million down on and take this as me just speculating a little bit, but he put $3 million down on his $15 million home. Well, he's got a locked-in mortgage. You head out, son? Okay, bye, son. And so now he's got this home that he owes $12 million on at a very low interest rate, okay? So he's kind of stuck in his house, right? He's stuck in his house because Ben can't sell, assuming I'm right about these facts, and Ben, you could clarify, but assuming he that is his situation, that's kind of how it is for, millions of people across the USA. They put 20% down on their home, they got a 4% interest rate, they're enjoying a very low mortgage, and so they can't sell their $500,000 home and then move across the state and then go buy another $500,000 home because it's going to cost double. It's going to cost twice what they, because it's how much. It's going to cost them twice as much per month because the money cost twice as much. So I'm going to have to do that. I'll do a video called Ben Mala is Stuck in His Home, I think. We'll see. Got another comment here. This content is amazing. I'll be done reading the book tomorrow. Yeah, thanks, buddy. Listen, listen. I have the experience. I've been doing it for a very long time. I'm not shy. I don't have any YouTube friends. You're not going to see me, patting, Pace Morby on the back, and we're talking about how great. Because I have the best testimonials in the world. I have the students. The students you see behind me. These guys, and I've got way more than this. Way more than this, right? I have hundreds of super bright students that, and many of which have made tens, hundreds, millions of dollars, even multimillionaires now. I don't know anybody that has a record like that, and I suggest you compare me to all these guys. Anybody, Jerry Norton. I don't know. I can give you these names. Sometimes giving you names you probably never heard of. But the deal is when somebody says deals, and they don't say a specific, they don't say a specific amount of money and profit. It's because they're embarrassed by the number. Or when they say deals, it could mean, there's like Pace Morby, Mr. 74, Mr. 84. Oh God, I've done 84 deals. Listen, anybody that gets wet and excited over, deals, over the word deals is a dipshit. And I can tell you, the people that join those kinds of classes, and I'm not going to say exclusively because I have some people that kind of got excited. They were a little bit gullible, and they trusted fake gurus that they should never have trusted. And, and then they get in my class and they realize, shit, this guy, I've already learned more in, one mentorship lesson than I learned in an entire course. Believe me, even just me talking right now, believe me, is beyond the scope of most of these guys. And so, anyways, I do appreciate that comment. And somebody call in. Look, there's the phone number right above my head here. Listen, don't be shy. Listen, you got to get out of your element. Don't be a wallflower, okay? You're never going to get anywhere if you don't step it up a little bit. Step it up. And I don't mean like just, in other words, there's paralysis by analysis, right? Okay, we've all heard that, right? Analysis is important, okay? But paralysis is ridiculous, okay? It's simple. It's very, very simple. In the math on real estate is extremely simple, and I'm gonna explain it to you right now in terms that everybody here that's watching can understand. Everybody here has probably bought a used car, assuming everybody's an adult. You bought a used car before. Well, when you go out and you look for a used car, you go to a couple different used car lots, and let's say you're looking at whatever. Let's just say you're looking at a Chevy pickup, a 2010, whatever. And you're looking at how many miles are on it. Then if you're smart, right, you're going to do your research. You're going to go, well, gee, how long do these cars last? What's the safety rating? And you go, okay, no, this is a good pickup. They're good for 100,000 miles before they have any big trouble. I got to find one for 50. And then you say, everything that's got 50,000 miles, say is on average after going to a few car lots, everything just say they're $25,000 or $20,000. So you go, I can afford $20,000. I can't afford 70 or 80, which is what a truck costs now these days. But so you figure out a range of years, say 2000 to 2005 or 2005 to 2010, let's just say. And so then you go, within 2005, 2010, I'll accept a pickup, that body style, long bed. There's certain colors I can't stand, but that's what I need is that truck. And then you're looking at it, and you'll get an idea what everybody's charging on average with the Blue Book, right? Blue Book is an average, what the Blue Book value is. So you can consider the Blue Book kind of the MLS, right? MLS, multiple listing services. When you're looking at houses in a neighborhood, you get an idea what everything's worth by the MLS, what's sold, what's for sale in a certain neighborhood. Blue Book, same thing. This is the average sale price of a 2005 to 2010 pickup with 50,000 miles on it. Okay, so now you know, it looks like I'm going to have to pay $20,000, right? Well, you keep looking and looking and looking. Well, you comb the paper, and then you see one pops up for sale, and you call it, you're the first one there, and they say, we'll take 10 grand. In that moment, you know that this is a great deal because you know that this pickup, if it was on any of these car lots had it, they would sell it for $10,000 more than you just paid for it. So you say, I'll take it, and you buy it. And now guess what? You just made 10 grand because you could take it over, you could sell it, and you could make 10 grand. That's real estate. And that's the same kind of reasoning that you do when you make a purchase. You're looking at a product that's a certain age that is, in a neighborhood, okay? And that's also, say, part of the model of the car, the model of the car, the house, whatever. You're comparing two bedroom, 3 bath homes to 2 bedroom, 3 bath homes. It could be lots, it could be buildings, it could be anything else. But look at it like it's a car, okay? Anybody that has ever looked for a car and waited till they got a good deal, okay, guess what? You're golden for making money in real estate. I sold probably 21 or 22 cars, I think, before I was even 20 years old. And I made money on those cars. And before that, I used to buy candy. And we got another call coming in. I'm so excited. Caller, you're on. Hang on a sec, caller. Oh, shit. Caller, come back. Somebody was calling me. I think I hung up on him. Oh, no, are you there?
Hey,
Oh, okay, oh, good. I still got
hey,
you.
it's Rich.
Oh, hey, Rich. Oh, good, Rich. Hey, bear with me one sec here. I'm going to finish this thought, Rich. Thanks for calling in. But yeah, it's you know, it's as simple. It's super simple math, and it's not any different than, like I said, about the cars. And then I'm going to come back to you, Rich, in one second. Let me just read this one comment. He said, "You have 0 negative reviews anywhere." Oh, he's talking about me. I'm a cop. I've looked everywhere. We texted a bit a couple weeks ago. Definitely going to contact you for the mentorship. Yeah, do it. I realize I recognize your name, RIAN. Yep, I think I do. Yeah, definitely. Just you have my number. If you've already contacted, just text me and we'll talk. And by the way, we got a great guest on here. A great guest. This is Ferradino, right? Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rich, I'm glad you're on here, Rich, because I'm just kind of going on one of my rants here, just in the simplicity of real estate. And Rich here, just to introduce, Rich is one of my students, and he's also one of my students that has made a couple $1,000,000 since he's been in the mentorship. Now, he'd bought a piece of property before that, but he wanted to expand his vision, and he wanted to know more about making money in real estate. And holy crap, this guy and I say he's a kid, everybody's a kid to me, under 40, 45, 50. He's young, early 30s, just had your first baby. Congrats again on that. And
Thank you.
yeah, Rich. I mean, why don't you share here? I was making the analogy of how buying real estate is really no more difficult than buying a car. As far as the research and the standard of what you do, how do you feel about that? What's your take?
Yeah, I think it's very similar because what you're doing is you're going to like all the car sites and you're seeing like what's something's of value, and really you're just trying to find something that's a better price than what you could pay for it at a retail price, so that you're making your the value of the car is worth more than when you buy it on day one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're appraising
So, and
the
yeah, you're
market.
pretty much appraising it. You're just looking at seeing how much one vehicle costs, and if you can find something significantly cheaper than what other ones are worth, then you got yourself a deal.
Exactly. Yeah, and so Rich was, I think, Rich, I mean, I can't even remember, when you joined me, what was it? Why did you end up joining, my mentorship? What was it?
I really just wanted to get into commercial real estate. I was looking at buying either industrial flex or shopping center because the triple net aspect appealed to me versus houses, because I had a couple rental properties, but I live in a big metro area in San Antonio, so it takes about 30 to 45 minutes to get to anywhere throughout the city. So instead of having houses all throughout the city on different parts of town, I wanted to consolidate my assets just into one property and just focus on that asset versus having to drive 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, 30 minutes around. Because when I would do my taxes, I saw how many miles I was putting my vehicle. I was just, man, I'm spending my life in my car instead of with my family. So that was the main reason. And I
Rich
just didn't want to
here.
buy or get burnt on my first deal, because it's uh, it's hard to make money and it's easy to lose it if you don't know what you're doing.
Yes, a fool and his money are soon parted. Is what we like to say.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what's interesting, because and by the way, Rich accomplished his goal, by the way, but not exactly in that order. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Rich, and I don't think I am, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. Rich bought and flipped a piece of land, made about 150,000. Flipped another piece of land, made about 250. Flipped another piece of land and made $800,000. I don't know what the exact order was, but he realized over $1 million in cash on land, because land is something I've done a ton of land in my lifetime. But he rolled the profits from that land, and then he bought a small retail house off the side of the road. He bought a beautiful property I would love to own, a couple of them now, next to a not apartment building, a hotel, I guess that's what it's next to, but nice 6,000 square foot retail center. And then he bought a beautiful flex building. I shouldn't even call it a flex building. He got 2 buildings side by side owned by one owner, and he bought that under market. So this is one of the things that happens. So here he's realized $1 million in cash, And then one of the buildings he buys, he's immediately going to make another 350, because the day he bought it, he bought something that was worth, roughly 20, 25%, 20, maybe 30% more than he paid for it. And so, and that's how it works. And did I accurately describe what happened?
Yeah, I think one of the lands is actually a mobile home and land, but you get the numbers right. But essentially, yeah, it's pretty much 99%.
Right.
But yeah, essentially, but the great thing was is that I started the whole deal. I started one of the pieces of land that I bought, and then I sold it. I really only had $50,000 into it, and then the gains that I made about $150,000, and I bought a $450,000 piece of property off of that $50,000 I originally invested, and then I made $1.1 million, and then I took that $1.1 million and rolled it into the warehouse, and now I'm going to buy 55,000 square feet of shopping center and office that's for $2.5 million, and that's going to be worth $7 million when I'm done with it. So and that's off of a $50,000 investment, which you can't do that in any other investment class.
Yeah. So you think about that. He realized $1 million profit, rolled it into a purchase of another property he sold for about $2.1 million. So now he's got $2 million, roughly $2 million cash to put down, and he's deferring this. He's not going to pay taxes on that, not today, and he's going to roll that into the purchase of a property that is much bigger, and he's going to make the day one. And so, like, say you're getting this 55,000, you say?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really big. That's really big. So
it's like 3 properties all next to each other. Like it's like one's a plaza of office retail, and then one's a shopping center of just commercial.
Right. Well, that's fantastic. But but it's that. This is what I tell people. Sometimes it's like a big cart. It's hard to get started, but once you get it rolling, it's hard to stop. And so he's got this $2 million. Think about that. He went from 50 to $1 million to 2.1 million, because that's what he just sold his warehouses for, and now he's using that 2.1 million to put down on a purchase of 2.5 million on a property that has the potential to be worth 3 times that. He's just got to do a little value add now. So yeah, congrats! I'm super excited for you, Rich. That's and
yep.
this
and
is
then
what,
I can go. Yeah, I mean it's real wealth generating, and that's why having you in the course, because I don't know anybody that I could call or talk to that can do a value add. Just like watching your videos. I mean, you're in the trenches. I mean, that's the difference between like you and Grant Cardone. He's not swinging a hammer, knows anything about carpentry or how to build a cabinet. So if I have a question about doing a rehab, you definitely have the skills to point me in the right direction.
Well, thanks. Well, I appreciate that. Well, yeah, and so so this is cool. So I think it's fair to say, Rich has already pretty much matched his income. I won't say what it is, but he matched his W-2 income with what he's already done, and now with what he's just done again, he's probably doubled that, or will be double or triple soon. Sounds like,
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, you get. Yeah, that's so cool, Rich.
I mean, I like this stuff. It's really fun. I mean, I don't consider it work. I mean, it can get stressful at times when you're dealing with contractors, but it's worth it in the end.
Oh yeah. Let me just tell you, I used to have a joke I'd say about real estate agents. Okay, about real estate agents, because they collect a commission. And I'd say never feel sorry for a real estate agent that loses everything, because they never deserved it anyways. They never earned it anyways.
That's true.
but what you're saying is let me tell you, it's like boo-hoo. You're disappointed. It's like you do something, you make a bunch of money, and you talk about the hardships of being a real estate investor. Okay, if you're smart and you follow the fundamentals and you do things right, you're never going to go broke. You're not going to go bankrupt. Your disappointment is going to be, shit, I probably could have got another $1 million off that deal. Or, shit, I could have probably leased this and got another $300,000 or $400,000 over the next 5 years that I didn't get. You know what I mean? It's not a, it's not, it's like I say, it's like being disappointed with the Christmas present that you got under the tree. Okay, it's not a big problem. It's not a really bad problem. But anyways, well, that's a treat. You guys that are out there listening, let me tell you, and I got Rich actually on the screen. This is from when I interviewed him a couple of years ago, back in 2023. And, great guy, great young man. And he's living the dream and living the American dream. And I'm telling you, there's a beautiful window right now. We've got somebody, that is fully cognizant running the country. And, we got new management that is slashing waste. And, if as tough at times we've kind of have found ourselves in a little bit for a lot of people, you couldn't have a better commander-in-chief right now. So for you young people or anybody's age, you have a wonderful opportunity to make money, in the next 4 years, hopefully longer. But you have a window that's very valid right now, and so that's it's a significant thing. And hey, those of you who just got here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Don't let my channel get away from you. But that's cool, Rich. Well, you got her signed up. You got it all penned, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on the rent roll and start my due diligence period.
Very cool. Yeah, that sounds great, man.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Tom, and I'll see you on Saturday in the meeting.
Yeah, that's tomorrow. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Rich. We'll talk to you later.
Take care, buddy.
You calling. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Bye now. So anyways, yeah, like I say, that was really, I'm so glad that Rich called in. And like I say, that's Rich that you see behind me on the screen right now. But, if you're just got here, please, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, get my book. It's a way to get your toe in the water and doesn't cost very much. Anyways, I am going to call it quits and for the night. But, I just don't, it's just very, very difficult to, I got a limited reach here, right? But I can't tell you how important it is that if you're going to get involved in real estate, do it sooner than later. And you got a fantastic opportunity before you. And it doesn't matter, the people that tell you, oh, don't get in, interest rates are too high. Oh, the market's too hot. Oh, the market's too slow. And this is every excuse. If you use that kind of rationality or use that kind of logic, it's not logic, but if you want to call it logic, you'll have a reason to never get involved and never do anything. And, it's just, there's people that are great savers. They have great discipline, but they get ruined with this paralysis by analysis. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do analysis, but the paralysis is what's going to kill you. You sit there and you save $500,000 or $400,000, or you save $200,000, over the last, say, 4 years or something like that. And while you saved that money, if you'd have just taken 10% of that money and bought the home that you're renting right now, you would have twice as much money, because the real estate would have gone up probably faster than your savings account did anyways. So just something to think about. So, hey, everybody, appreciate it. And Ryan, I hope to see you soon, buddy. You should get in here and join as soon as you can if you can afford to. And now I got one more call, and I think I recognize the number, so I'm going to take the call. Let's see who this is. Yeah, caller, go ahead.
Hey there, I just figured I'd hop on here right before you left. I didn't mean to keep you waiting, but I want to get a call in here. I just saw your live stream, so I was hopping in.
Sure.
Want to say hello and thank you for all the information. I'm 31 and I feel like I wasted time waiting for the right time that never came, but I'm finally pulling the trigger on a deal here soon. I wanted to run it by you if you have the time.
Sure. Have I ever talked to you before?
I don't believe so. I've just subscribed to your channel recently.
Okay, good. Did you watch most of this channel that you just saw? To this
Just
program?
the last 20 minutes or so,
Okay.
Basically since you hopped on with your last caller.
Good. You saw one of my multimillionaire students, so I'm glad you got that. But that's good. What's your name,
That
please?
was good, yeah, for sure. My name is Levi.
Okay, Levi. So you're 31 years old and you have a deal you're about to pull the trigger on? Tell me about it.
Found a vacant lot here that needed utilities. Ended up pulling the trigger on that. Got it paid for in cash. Got all the utilities in now, and I was originally planning on doing a single family, and it's been sitting for a while. The lot has since about 2021, and then when rates started shooting up, I started looking at the cost to really get this thing funded and done. And I think I'm going to switch gears here and do a duplex instead, so I can try and get some rental income out of the other side and do a live-in situation on the one side and then rent out the other. And in my area, that's about the only way to get anywhere close to breaking even on what my mortgage will be with rates, with a roughly 20 to 30% down, since I do have the lot paid for.
Okay. I can already tell you I don't like what you're doing. And listen, I'm here not to hurt feelings. I'm here just to be straight with you. For you to...
No worries. I'm here for your information. That's why you're the pro. I'm here to learn for sure.
Yeah. So look, I'm a builder. Okay. I haven't built anything for anybody else other than just myself in the last 35 years. But I was building 1,700 square foot homes, and I'd get $100 a foot. So, I'd buy a lot for 20, 30,000. Actually, I'd buy a lot for 10 grand, but the lot would usually be worth 20 to 30. Because that's what I do. I don't buy anything unless it's worth more. But I'd buy, and let me just change the screen that's on in front of everybody right now, just so they can see, and I'll kind of show you too at the same time. I don't know if you're watching your screen or not, but
yeah.
Okay, this is when I was in my 20s, right? And you'll see this on the screen here. This is called Lake Elizabeth, and for let's see, let me get the screen changed. I still got the wrong stuff behind me. There you go. This is Lake Elizabeth, little town in California, still within L.A. County, and I bought all those properties you see in the back. I went through about 100 properties between the age of 19 and 29. And when I was probably roughly 25 to 26, I started buying up lots out here, and I was buying lots that were worth, I was buying stuff for 10 grand that was worth 25 and 30. And and I probably bought 20 lots, and then I ran out of money. And then I started building, not completely out of money, but I ran out of extra money. And I started building homes. And I would sell a home for $170,000, and I would make 70 grand. In other words, I'd pocket 60 grand. I was pocketing about 60 grand. So I wasn't really making 60 on the house. I was making probably 40 on the house, and I was making 20 on the lot. So, and it takes time. You got to get a construction loan. You got to have an architect. You got to get approved at the city. You have inspectors. It takes a little time. I could get a house completely built and sold inside of less than 90 days, and which is pretty quick. It's hard to do that now, but these are pretty simple homes too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but so while I'm doing this, other builders are wanting to buy properties too. So I'd say, well, I got a lot, I'll sell you, and a lot I paid 8 or 10 grand for. They go, how about 30 grand? They give me 30 grand. I go, shit, I just made 20 grand on that lot. Well, one weekend, somebody needed 3 lots. I sold them 3 lots for $30,000 a piece, and I made $60,000 on those 3 lots that I sold. And it took me an hour time total of everything, buying it, selling it to somebody else. And I thought, I just made more flipping 3 lots than I made on building, on selling, the last 3 houses on a single house. And I thought, I'm done building. And then I had a doctor buddy that was kind of keeping an eye on me, saw that I was making a lot of money. I knew him. I built his cabinets. That's how I knew him. And he says, hey, I want to invest with you, Tom. And so I bought another 40, 50 lots in this area with his money. Yeah, and I just started flipping those lots. And now, we're making 20, so I'm making 10, he's making 10. And I just kept flipping lots. I never built again in this area after that. And so I would tell you that, I don't know. I mean, do you have are you, no, I guess nobody knows you. So, I mean, how much money do you have? Are you gonna borrow the money to build this place?
So I'm in a little bit of a unique situation. I have, but like I said, the lot's paid for. I have about another 100,000 liquid, and then I have my contractor who's going to be building the house for me. He's actually going to float the build cost for me, and then I just mortgage it at the end. And again, this would be my first property. I currently rent, so I'm trying to step into the door of home ownership first of all, but then second,
Yeah.
rent that other side out, which would be about 75% of the cost of the
Yeah,
mortgage.
this
The
is
way I'm
that.
running the numbers
Yeah,
now.
this is that house hack mentality. I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna live, but you're falling into the trap of not how much a month. You're figuring out, oh, I can live in one side pretty cheaply or free when I get done, right? Is that kind of where we're going?
Well, I just wanted to be basically where what I'm paying for rent now, which is about $1,000 here in Southern Oregon. I just wanted that to be pretty close to what I'd be out of pocket into a new mortgage for this new property.
Yeah. So look, I want you to go to my site, go to Flip Anything USA, because I'm telling you right now, you're kind of in the frying pan and you're about to jump into the fire. It's not worth it. You don't need to do it. It's a terrible time to build. And let me just tell you something. Just reason it this way. I mean, if you saw the analogy I was talking about buying pickups, did you get that part of the program earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I do that pretty frequently.
Okay. So, but what you're talking about doing is buying a brand new pickup. That's what you're talking about doing. You're talking about buying a.
Well, I'll give you a little more background too, just
Sure.
so you have the full picture. I'm a plumbing contractor
Mm-hmm.
here locally where I live, and so I'm going to be doing all the plumbing myself. So I'll just be out
Doesn't
of
matter.
pocket cash per hour
You save great.
for my guys, and then
Just so you know, even
Go
though
ahead.
you can do it for free, while you're
Mhm.
working and doing it for free, somebody's not paying you to do it for them. So you're not doing it for free. You understand? So I'm telling you, and this is 100% from the heart, you're making a mistake. You should flip the lot.
Okay.
You should flip the lot, okay? Or if you really have your heart set on hanging on to this lot, hang on to the lot, I guess. But you're making a mistake because this is what people do. They tie up what monies they have for something that doesn't give them a very good return. And now you can't do anything. If you look at Rich, who was just on here, he took 50, made 150, made 250, made 800 on the next one, took $1,000,001, okay? It bought a building with that. And now that building he just sold for 2.1 million. And so, in other words, you want to get rich slowly. That's how you do it. And you have some risk that could devastate you and damage you in ways, that can happen when you stick your neck out like you're doing. And so I would just tell you, you're not building at a very good time. Materials are expensive. Interest rates are high. Interest rates are terribly high right now. Values are down in general for houses, new properties. It's down. The reason it's down is because people can't afford to buy your property. Believe me, the correlation with values going up and interest going down, it's just irrefutable. People don't say how much. When people say, "Can you afford a home like that?" Well, they don't mean can you pay cash for it. They mean can you afford the payment, right? And so you're making that mistake. I mean, the power of real estate, just number one, is when you can buy property. The only way you can buy property for less than it's worth is you have to buy existing property. It has to already exist, has to already be built. Listen, I bought properties for less than building cost. In other words, I bought the property for less than it would cost me to build it. So that means I got a portion of the building for free, and I got the land absolutely free. You follow me? So you're not setting your standards high enough, and so I would just just tell you, I've got the site up here. Go right here to apply for mentorship. Right here, apply for mentorship. Okay, fill out that little tiny form. I already know about as much about you as I'm going to ask in this form, but fill that out. And what was your name again?
Levi.
Levi. Okay, well, that's an easy one. So fill this out, Levi, and I'll look for your name. I'll know you anyways. And I'll respond to you, and then we'll have a private call, not so public. And
Sounds good.
because believe me, man, listen, you're young, you got $100,000 in the bank. I mean, you are poised to be a millionaire in a very short time if you just follow the fundamentals that I'll teach you. And I mean, Rich has done it, and he's not the only one in my class that's done it, right? And so, that's what I would tell you to do. That's what I would tell you to do. I don't like your plan at all, and but if that's your dream and that's what you want to do, I guess do it. But you're just not going to be as wealthy as you could be. Okay, so don't like to shit on anybody's dream.
For sure, I appreciate the insight. For sure, that's why I'm here. So all criticism is good criticism in my eyes.
Yeah, and you should always enjoy the devil's advocate. You really should. I always like people to try to shoot my ideas down. I'll say this, and this, and if they can't shoot it down, then I know I'm doing something right. But if they make a point, then you got to go, you know what? They're right. You know what I mean? So
I hear you. Yeah. The only thing that I have going for me is I think it'll be about 150 a square to build it total.
Dude, that's
I mean,
nothing.
that doesn't count in my time, like you mentioned. So
No. Believe me, that's like, that's nothing. It's nothing. I'm just telling you, it's nothing. You could probably go find a duplex that you could buy for far less, and make a
Gotcha.
and just get a discount because somebody else, I tell this story all the time. I pulled up to a software sales sign. Fortunately, it was across the street from the home that I already owned, and I like, oh shit, thing went up for sale while I was on vacation, and 10 days. I called the agent immediately. He said it's already sold. I said, how much you sell it for? And I go, well, fuck, no wonder you sold it too cheap. And I said, tell him I'll give him 50,000 more. He goes, no, I'm not going to do that. I said, bye-bye. I'll do it myself. I walked across the street, went across, talked to the lady. Said, listen, I said, I understand you got this thing and you're talking about buying it. I said, I don't want you to sell it. I said, I'll give you $50,000 more. Don't sign it. If you haven't signed it, don't sign it. I'm going to give you $50,000 more. She burst into tears. But it was odd. It didn't feel good. It never feels good to see somebody cry.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, and I thought, well, maybe this is good. But she goes, my husband just left me and I just want to get out of this place. She didn't give a shit about the money. Not one bit. And here's the deal. Here's the worst part of it. I was willing to give her $50,000 more for it. It was worth $250,000 more than what I was going to give her. And so
right.
These, people don't understand that there are reasons that are all over the place while deals happen. And unless you have, and I've been through decades of deal stuff. I've seen guys make $5 million on $160,000 like that, and I've had some big ones. I have never made that much on so little, but I've had some big ones. And anyways, I would just tell you, you're a perfect candidate for mentorship. I mean, perfect. So what I'd like you to do, and I'm going to be disappointed if you don't, is fill out that mentorship survey when I get off here, and I'll try to talk to you tomorrow or Sunday. And so
I'll do it. Thank you, Tom. I really appreciate your time.
Same here, Levi. Thank you for calling. I got one more caller. I'm going to make it really short, but thank you. Appreciate it.
Sounds good. Take care. I'll let you get to that one.
Sounds good. Hey, caller, how's it going?
Bye.
Yep.
All right, Tom. How you doing?
Good. Who am I talking to?
You're talking to Warren.
Okay, Warren. I got to text my girlfriend, or I'm going to be in the doghouse. So tell me real quick what's going on.
Well, I was just wanting to speak on what you were just talking to the last gentleman about. Buying a duplex is an excellent way to get started in real estate. And if I had it to do all over again, knowing that you can get an FHA loan for a fourplex, that's what I would have done. But yes, a duplex is an excellent way to get started. My first duplex that I bought, it was the mortgage on it was $980 a month, but the tenant paid $800 a month. I mean, you can do the math on that. You're living.
Yeah. Okay, but let's back up a little bit because I would argue with you, it's not the greatest way to go. In fact, listen, I remember having that same dream. Oh man, I'm just going to get a duplex. I'll live in one side, rent out the other, or people get a house and rent out. In fact, I had a big, giant, beautiful home I bought when I was 25. I lived upstairs and I rented the bottom. It was a 3,600 square foot home, and I rented out the bottom half to a buddy. But I was damn near a millionaire already at that point. But it's always good to get started somewhere. But I'm telling you, once you get educated, you'll realize all the things that you missed. Believe me, when people get in my class, and I tell people, I don't care if you've been doing it longer than me, 30, 40 years. I've been doing it for 44 years. You'll learn something from me because I don't know anybody that's been as assertive, aggressive, and active, and with a record like I have. And so, but let's talk about your duplex, and I'm happy for you. Listen, anything that gets you going and rolling, your deals just should continue to get bigger and better and better, And so, but your duplex situation, what was it? Who was it? Was it an FHA loan?
Yes, it was an FHA loan.
How much did you put down?
At the time, I had.
How much did you have to put down? 5%?
At the time, I had 3.5. And at the time, I had a real estate license, and I still have my real estate license today. So I got a 3% commission that I used towards the down payment.
0.5%
So I only
down.
had to come. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
So I got into the deal with writing a check for $3,100.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's a fantastic story. And what's your name, sir? Warren. Yeah. Yeah, Warren, listen, that is a good story, and that is something that's available to a first-time buyer, right? That's available to a first-time buyer. I remember I bought so many houses when I was younger, and I had some FHA loans, as I recall, and they said, hey, we can't do anymore. You're only allowed to do 12 of them or something like that. And not every one of them would allow you to, they've had different, it's been 40-something years, right? But there was a limit to how many of them that you could have. So anyways, but no, that is a good story. And for somebody that doesn't have any money, to get in, if you bought it right, number one, you got to buy it right. You can make a mistake too. You could buy a property just like you just described, and it could be a mistake. You know what I mean? It could not. You could get something that is a negative, that it's not worth as much as you paid for it. That's happened. But obviously, you did the right thing. You bought it right. You got a decent interest rate. You got figured out where you're renting the property for pretty much one side. You were renting for pretty much what you paid for the other, right?
Right. Yeah, I was practically
Your
living
payment
for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree. That's you know what? That's a cool thing. When I was a kid, I lived in a duplex, and not because it was great. It was because that's what we rented. We had to. We also had a what you call a party line. If the phone rang twice, it meant it was our call. If the phone rang once, like ring or ring, then it meant we actually shared a line. You could pick up the phone, and your next door neighbor could listen in on your freaking phone call. It was a very strange thing, but that was how it was back in the 70s. By the way, that's what we called a party line. You would literally have a shared phone line in your property, and if you would have to, the neighbor would have to, okay, I'll get off. Sorry, didn't know it was for you. You know what I mean? It was strange, but hey, Warren, I appreciate the heck you calling in, but I got to bail. And but hey, please, I would like you to, because you sound like a smart guy, a good guy. Go to flipanythingusa.com, like I'm showing on the screen right now. And up at the top, you'll see apply for mentorship. There is no obligation, no call, no nothing. But I have calls just like we're having right now with people that do call up. I'm always happy to help. I don't care if you got money or not. But, I'd love to see you apply for the mentorship. And because you may find out that you can make a lot more money. So, but never.
Sure thing. And I will do that.
Very good. Well, good. Well, thank you, Warren. I appreciate the call, and everybody watching. Appreciate y'all. And listen, a fool and his money are soon parted. There's all kinds of scum out there on YouTube, that are not good. And
Yes, I know.
yeah. People think YouTube University. Let me tell you, YouTube University is not an accredited university that anybody would ever consider. There's a lot of bad information out there. I mean, a ton. So, but hey, all right, buddy. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. And
all right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks. Talk to everybody soon, and I'll let you watch my Fake Guru rap, and we'll wrap it up. Bye.
And listen, time is on a mission to eliminate all of the snake oil and the fake gurus that fake y'all. He'll show you how to build an empire, starting with nothing but a desire. All you really need is a good mentor, not a used car bullshit. With time, you'll learn to crush it. Investing like Warren Buffett. With real estate, you cannot procrastinate. Everyone who hesitates is left at the starting gate. Hey, yo, so don't delay and join today. The mentorship and flip anything. USA, go.
It's the best thing I ever did.
You want to learn how to make millions of dollars in real estate? I've made tens of millions over my lifetime, and I'm showing people how to do it. Get in my free webinar. I have it every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Go to the link below, flipanythingusa.com/webinar. Sign up for it. You can talk to me face to face if you want. Don't waste any time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You don't want to miss my channel. I've been doing it for years.